Mustangs are your fall major East champions.
Up against Wichita Southeast here in this final best of 3 round. The winner takes it all the way to nationals, opportunity at a shot of some of the scholarship prizing.
Welcome back to SFCL Season 6 Day 1. We've finished with Map 1, and now on to Map 2. We've got HK Rebels versus McQueens. One is a T3 household name, and the other may not, but the players on it might surprise you. I'm hoping that this one may be a little closer than a 7-3.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones that could be a bit of a banger, especially early on. I think, you know, Hong Kong Rebels, HK Rebels have that sort of name power coming in behind them. So the one that you will have seen a bit more of, the McQueens coming together, a little bit of amalgamation, right? You've got some players who you will have seen in other places, notably the Woos and Twists duo coming together. I think it's going to be a little bit juicy to see in action again on the McQueens. They were the team that came through our qualifiers. I believe they won 2-0 and then 2-1 in their sort of final game to determine if they'd qualify for the main season or not. So some good games in there, some pretty close, but ultimately they made it. I think that's what's important to note. They get to take on the HK Rebels.
Yeah, Woo's on Lycus. He helps them through their closed qual run in the NA Open. He is a gunning demon. He's probably my favorite T3 player right now. So exciting to watch. I'm so excited to see him go up against HK Rebels, who have Burnt Turkey back. They've kind of been shuffling the lineup a little bit. They've had the core set, but they haven't really settled down, and Burnt Turkey is here. He is ready to play, and I think having him back in the lineup is just going to be a huge boost to this team, who got through the first qual of NA Open, and then the second one, they didn't have as much success, and they felt like they maybe haven't reached the peak that they had at the past.
Yeah, I think when you can make a couple of changes, you keep a core of a roster together, and then just add a little bit more firepower, a little bit more ferocity to it. It's always going to be quite a nice change to see. And I think for both these teams coming in, it means we're going to see these interesting engagements early on into rounds. I don't think we're going to see too long before fights start to break out, and that's just always more fun, right? More firepower, more fights, more fun. It all comes together, and I'm interested to see where we end up here, right? Because there's a couple options. Maybe we end up on one of these more familiar, more standard ones. Sky, Theme Park, both out very quickly. Border, look, I talked at the start about, I'm not a Border enjoyer per se. I don't mind it here and there. You sprinkle it in. Border could have been quite a fun one to see the two teams play out, but that's been taken away pretty early on by HK Rebels. And now we're seeing the rest of it. You still got the Theme Park, not Theme Park. You still got Oregon. You still got Clubhouse in there. So potentially one of those two, but in fact, it's the third. It's going to be Villa that we're going to be treated to. And I'm a Villa enjoyer. I love me.
Oh yeah.
Villa. It might be my favorite. It's that or Skyscraper. But I don't know. It always has a soft spot.
Yeah, I know. I am a big appreciator of Villa. That might depreciate as we're starting to see Villa a lot more. I think if we took out something like Oregon, Villa might replace it, or might replace like Clubhouse with how much it's played, because it is definitely getting up there. It's got 2 floors, 2 sides. It's very easy to read, but I don't think it's as easy to play. Like, it seems so simple when you look at it, but then you get in and it's a little bit more complex than that.
I feel like the basement just had there was some developer
nobody counts
with
that.
some developer with just mad middle child energy just designed this floor, and they were just like, yeah, we can forget about that one. Like, there's no bomb sites there. There is if you play either hostage or secure area, but no one plays those unless you're in quick match. You can get them, but in ranked, unranked, and in competitive, of course, it's all bomb. So it's only really reserved for either pulses or nooks and jackals who are hunting said pulses.
Solus sometimes
Solus,
is down
true.
there as well, which she is much better on Villa in my opinion than something like Oregon, which she probably could get banned. But there's also a lot of other defensive bans. You could bring Azami fits in there, Valkyrie as well. I mean, what are we gonna see? I don't know what we're gonna see from the defense. I'd like to see a Solus.
Just all three. Just all three. McQueens are going to forego their attacker ban. They're going to ban out Valkyrie instead. Someday that will happen by accident. It would just But the Rebels, they're going to get Nook out of here. I get it. I get it. Get rid of it. No more basement lurking, or as much basement lurking. A lot of cams, a lot of entry points you want to watch out for. That does make it our second game with a Dokkaebi ban here, V. I mean, look, I get it, she's strong. I can't say I was expecting the double ban to come in. Villa, large map, maybe you want to avoid those calls.
Yeah, no, especially with how impactful some default games can be.
True.
Valkyrie, though, going out would make Dokkaebi less powerful, but Dokkaebi is out, so that made Valkyrie less powerful, but instead, they're both taken out. Not here, and that last ban is going to be Solus. So we are getting Solus out, Valkyrie out, Dokkaebi out. It's just a party with these three sitting on the bench. So that means that Azami will make it through, Mira will make it through, but are HK Rebels going to fit that into their lineup? I would expect that Azami potentially get played, but Mira can definitely be site to site, but it seems this 5-core lineup definitely does fit into what we expect for Aviator games.
Yeah, you know what? I like the look at the lineup so far. I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm a Mirror enjoyer. I'd like to see a little bit of Mirror leaking in when you get the opportunity. There's always that Twitch worry, but now that, the Twitch drone doesn't exist in the prep phase, you can lay it down and just go about the rest of the preparation. I think some of those sites, it's a little bit harder to slip the Twitch drone into some of the spots. There's probably a nice little angle you can get from Zombie, I just don't know about, but I think it's always an option. I like to see this little bit of an extension down below, though. You give yourself the rotates from Piano, some head height holes to contest down the long corridor, as well as the ability to jump back into office and go away into living room should you need to kind of get out in a bit of a pinch. It also will force the McQueens to invest a little bit of time into clearing out this system, especially with Prismas being put in positions that are holding common crossfires. That information really helpful, especially the closer you are to the defense, right? If a Prisma pops off and you get swung and instantly die from a doorway, a little bit scarier than if you just shoot it from spawn and it goes off the window and they know, oh, you spawn in this spot. Nice little attempt by Doug to try and get that early C4 spawn kill. Not going to happen this time because Evil Clouds, he went the other way around.
Well, something unexpected, but is Doug being a statuary expected? He's going to get droned out by Fredo, or at least not for the time being. Sneaking up into statuary, but doesn't find the shots on to stop. It was a nice play, but unfortunately just ready for the engagement, and now Twist might have had the runaround in the end. So McQueens, they draw first blood within a good amount of time as well, and now can focus on 90 on the red stairs. And HK Rebels, you gotta worry about how you're gonna draw the attention away from the attack. Maybe the lack of a nomad or any real roam, anti-roam could start to play its cards here.
Already up to 90 with a little bit of hot droning, just making sure that Twist has that support all the way forwards. The rest of the team can start to sort of move into a position to get in there for the reinforcement. Be a little bit aware of Burnt Turkey, who is trying to go for some cheeky plays up the back side of the map, maybe looking for that flank up Astronomy Stairs if they give them the opportunity. But so far, things slowing down a little bit. They want to gather this information, make sure Red's safe, which they're able to do with the Gemini, and get it up towards Aviator game. JetCon still in this position to study. I think it's important for them to hold on to this feed because it just gives you a lot of flexibility in peeking to deny that default plant behind the lock.
Ooh, who shoots the Prismas? Not the real player who's hiding right behind it. Burnt Turkey uses that brief amount of time and quiet to relocate on the first floor, which Woos doesn't really have a good indicator of. Rai is going to find a kill of his own, making it a 4v4, of which McQueens haven't really found their way close to the site, and Fredo is not ready for the JetCon peak. It's Rebels getting an advantage. They have study control. They have Woos distracted underneath with Burnt Turkey. The Rebels have done a great job at diverting a lot of resources late in this round.
Yeah, and still, fire the roam below. Gonna shoot another Prisma. A little bit of information going into the hands of the Rebels while you just wait for that to kind of fizzle out. Stop now looking to try and walk on in, but has to be careful of the vault up angle. Woos on Study Balcony is doing a good job of preventing JetCon from swinging in response. They're still a little bit afraid of it. They're not fully sure. Gonna walk in and eat a couple bullets from Rai. The swing from Burnt Tiger on main stairs will get traded out, but it's gonna net them the double kill as well. Woos, left alone, walks to the doorway, being watched, gets gunned down. The defense wins the opening round. Rebels pretty happy with that outcome.
Yeah, McQueens didn't put enough pressure in my eyes on Rebels after they gained a massive amount of control. A great man count advantage, and then they just kind of sat around for
Why did they have it?
a minute.
They didn't only have it, they had it very quickly.
Yeah.
They cleared out all of offense, all of statue, all of trophy, astronomy, all done within a minute. They're on 90 in a minute. That is really quick. I feel like to do that in a 5 versus 4, like, yeah, there's a vertical threat, there's a player playing down below, but, like, they're not like that. It's not like it's a pulse for the right? It's not like they have vault cams relaying information. I feel like this is a pretty safe thing to just focus on site and try and take it by storm, because it's effectively a 5 versus 3 if you can do that. Rather than having Woos on study, or on the door downstairs, have him on study. Start applying that pressure, prevent JetCon from going for these rotations. They tried to have Fredo do that, get in that position. He was caught out on the jump. So a little bit of nice play from JetCon to recognize what a common sort of counter to his position is going to be and be ready for it. A game of like sort of a little bit of chess where you're making moves and counter moves and making sure you're covering and you're pinning and all that jazz. I'm not very good at chess. I should give you a warning before you take these analogies too hard. But ultimately, things coming down very well for the Rebels.
Yeah, but McQueen's not getting any roam. Like, no claymores, no nomad, no air jabs, so it puts a lot into the drones that they have to be used as flank drones. And there's no Solus, so it can't be spotted, but it still is a lot of pressure on the technical aspect. You have to place your drone in the right spot. Make sure you have someone on it, which you can't really have in a 5v4. You always kind of lose a lot of agency in that situation. As Rai, he's just kind of focusing on study with the help of Burnt Turkey. This could be another early entry for McQueens, but so far they haven't found the kill. And if they do go down, that is Rebels relishing in the fact that they have control, have time, actually are relinquishing the map control, but that is with the usage of so much attack utility. It's a win in their eyes.
Well, Twist again, being in this forward position on the top of main, starting to walk on through the roam from Rebels falling away. They saw how much power breach was being used, the drones coming through, the information, and backed off, but a little bit of pressure onto Rai around the main staircase. Tries to escape. Trade going on elsewhere, and runs down the stairs into the waiting arms of Woos here, V. And just like that, right? Rebels looking pretty good. They've fallen back. They're holding on to their key position. Yeah, they lose JetCon, but they're able to trade it out. They get rid of the Yana. Now, suddenly, 3 members alive inside of sight. Woos starting to apply that pressure towards the back stairs. If he comes up astronomy, you're looking at a pretty difficult position to try and fight your way out of.
The 1v1 we saw last round was between Woos and Burnt Turkey. And neither one really got the kill onto each other, but Burnt Turkey was the objective winner. How much he was able to distract Woos, really having much intel on it. Burnt Turkey walking slow enough that he doesn't give a lot of sound as to his exact position. But so far, it's a little bit of a 2v3 on site. Burnt Turkey and Woos distracted with each other on that first floor. This might allow McQueens to utilize the fact that they do have a man count advantage. Still, they're letting the timer tick down. Twist is going to draw on in, and that's perfect for Vipo, who finds a kill onto Fredo, pivots over onto the landing, doesn't hit the shots, but it's enough to force this team back. Woos does win the 1v1 with Burnt Turkey, but now HK Rebels can start to get something done, but not before Evil Clouds stops the flank in its tracks. Woos up on Astro. Sees where Vipoa potentially could be. Doesn't have the exact location. Evil Cloud's halfway through, putting down the diffuser as Vipoa does move from their position, now giving their exact position away, and that's when Woos will strike, allowing McQueens to win this trophy statuary area.
Again, when you have that advantage in the 4 versus 3, you can start to just play for these trades, and that's kind of what the McQueens did, right? They're walking in, they're looking for gunfights, they're able to answer anything thrown at their way back. They get that control of the site. It's in a little bit of an awkward position. Well, the cards are trying to work out, right? Do you come in and check one way or the other? Well, they're planning on the other side of the site anyway, mate. So it doesn't really matter. You're not going to draw a line of sight to it. They're getting that down safely with Woos giving the cover that's needed. But when you move out, when you start to try and retaliate to something, you're going to get caught out in a nice little crossfire as soon as that diffuser goes down. But in the meantime, Wu's on the longer angle, going to have your number. And they're going to try and run back the site again. They don't want to go back down to Kitchen just yet. They can't go to Aviator Games, but they just won it. I think this will be interesting. I think for me, the round started off very well, right? They had their roam, they allowed it to fall back. There was an interesting position where maybe Rai on red stairs is able to hold out a little bit longer, but the utility getting burned away, no one else in a forward position to really give them that support was what led to that run backwards, with Wu's waiting very close nearby. So, a little bit of an awkward one. If they can find a way to support that position a little bit longer, I think they could have a really good thing here on their hands.
Burnt Turkey did a good job underneath with Wu's. I wonder if that'll be like an entire map storyline between Wu's and Burnt Turkey, who is going to be the eventual Roam King. Wu's so far, even without Burnt Turkey, has gone 4-1. Found a lot in the previous round. Like I said, he's a gunner. You do not want to leave him alone inside of the map, ready to do his business, because he will find you and he will kill you. Burnt Turkey and Rai still getting the pinch that they did in the previous round. They didn't get a kill, but they wasted attack utility. That was really all they needed. Twist takes a lot of damage from the Bailiff, just enough pellets to put him around that 25 HP margin and maybe scare him, but not really do much more than that.
That's a different shotgun. I think that's a kill there. And, well, Burnt Turkey's going to follow up that wonderful little shot through the floor by peeking out and jumping over the bar and getting shot down. Thankfully, the refrag is there, so they're able to take down Stop. But Fredo still aggressive on this Aviator door in a position to sort of challenge in. Looks like minus Rai again has fallen away, so his army in a position by themselves as a kill comes through in the background. That's Wu's going down to Jetcon. I don't think they're not even going to check Vault. They're not even looking at it.
Yeah, because if you are this far in the map, you would feel confident in the fact that you have everything clear. It's a 3v1. Now a 1v2 as Evil Clouds does look behind them. There is some indicator that Rai is still here. But if Rai is smart, they might not take this engagement. Force Evil Clouds in an uncomfortable position. Use the 2v1 that you have. Evil Clouds doesn't have the diffuser, but they go onto site anyways. Try to find the kill onto the mute. And now push forward. Do see the head, but can't hit it as Rai is guarding that diffuser with his life, knowing it's kills or nothing. At this point, there's enough time for Evil Clouds to use that frag grenade and maybe find the kill onto the player, but it's a trade, and that one player relishing inside of Study Rai is going to mean that that victory is going towards HK Rebels.
Yeah, and again, just you got to be more careful with your drones there, right? You're allowing Rai, who is pinned in a corner, pinned inside of Vault. You have numbers to play with. It's still a 4 versus 4. You have 2 on 90. Fredo by themselves and Aviator, yes, but you still have the drone come through and then just be like, hey, there's a guy locked. Let's chuck a nade in there. Try and fish them out. But instead, they walk past it, they forget about it. It's just, I don't know, a little bit careless, right? And that's what's cost them in this round, because, yeah, they get a bit aggressive on side of sight. They're taking challenges, they're taking gunfights and coming out on top. But you still have this player hiding behind you, who then, on top of that, is going to make this even harder for you. Nice attempt by Evil Clouds to get the 2 kills back, but it's ultimately just not enough, because the Rebels, they didn't really have to do much for that position, right? It's 2 versus 1, and it was kind of hard for them to isolate either one of those last 2 members. Hard to isolate members in a clutch situation, in a 1vx. Probably not winning it.
Yeah, because these are smart players. They know not to give player a 1v1. Yeah, that's the best way to lose a 1vx. Is just to give, be a small range. Give your opponent these constant peaks. I think that Rebels know better than that. As Doug's still over by the statuary area, doesn't try the peek onto walk-in closet, instead backs off. It's Burnt Turkey still on that first floor, so a lot of general positions are the same for the Rebels, and it's kind of the same for McQueens, pushing in through this master bedroom side. Last time they did this, they were largely ineffective. It was a very good round, that first round on AVG. McQueens, I mean, they've woken up a little. They got a round, and now looking to get more.
Well, more is, well, always merrier, as the saying goes. But for now, just making sure they have their flanks watched as well. Put a couple of drones out. And, look, no early pick, but still good progression through the top floor, right? Last time, Twist on 90 at this time in the round. Little bit behind that pace, but that was breakneck. So we can give them a little bit of a breathing room there. We can give them a little bit of forgiveness. You still have Doug, who is on red stairs. And for me, this is going to be a big deal because Trish has walked past without checking it. So again, are we going to see another occasion from McQueen? No, we're not. They're going to drone it. Okay, I was worried they might get another occasion where they're just running forward, assuming things are safe. They fixed that slightly. Grenades trying to come through, but Magnets, ADS is all set up to support this position, and he's trying to engage gunfights.
Doug's got those glasses, so flashbang smoke grenades don't mean anything, but the frag grenade that was thrown is caught out by the mech and the ADS. Just everything that is there. An Evil Cloud shot through the wall, almost dead, and now the Warden is really going to get the utilization of his utility, but it's only one on the HK Rebel side, and it's two for McQueens. They get one on Vipol, one on Doug, and looking for more. JetCon and Bird Turkey on the first floor, leaving Rai all alone, but I think they will rotate all the way back to give him some help, because leaving your smoke all alone, it may not be the best in the long term, but Rai still pushes up, shoots out that drone, knowing that there is a lot of McQueen's players around him. Maybe not on the fullest of HP with Evil Clouds and Woos, but Fredo, who has that diffuser, has his comrades with him on landing, is ready to attack this. As Rai hiding in the corner, has two smoke canisters, and hasn't used them. He could waste so much time, Golu, if he just throws them right by his feet. What would McQueens do? They would not really be able to do anything, but Rai is going to make light of the fact that McQueens have no idea where he is. He gets one, and it's just the other Rebels who finish it off for him. And now the sneaky position, maybe the lack of droning that you mentioned, or the misdroning, could be the key factor.
First of all, when you get that control, they did a good job to try and push this Warden out, right? They're using flashes to burn out Magnets and ADSs, then they're using the nades to try and force it forwards. The problem is both the Sledge and the Yana were kind of preoccupied with this nade game to be ready to challenge the swing. And it ended up being Twists from 90 that had to do it when Warden moved so far forwards that became a viable angle to hold. They get a second pick in the background as well, so they are getting picks out of it. That's all fine. The problem for me is then we see once again this McQueen slowing down. I thought the whole point was that they were speed. Instead, they're being quite slow to make these adaptations, to have the rotation come through. Eventually, we see Woos on the study window, but he's not taking an aggressive position. He's being very patient, holding it. That long angle from the corner is fine. They have one player on top main stairs. Again, you're not challenging either of these players, and they're still in positions to support Rai on the close swing. You walk up, Rai grabs the double kill. Fantastic job to do that. But that's kind of the linchpin of this hold. There's still another longer angle which is being drawn, which is dragging the attention away. Things just kind of, again, information not flowing properly from the Queen.
I mean, maybe they're lightning McQueen in Cars 3, where he gives up because he isn't fast enough. Very good movie. You haven't seen Cars 3. It's actually pretty good. Don't watch Cars 2. Don't watch Cars 2.
I always enjoyed Cars 2, like, as a kid, because it's James Bond but cars, and it's very cool. As a film, not fantastic. As a Cars film, kind of irrelevant to the rest of the franchise. As a film, very cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for cool things. What can I say? I love the Transformers films, so that tells you everything you need to know about my taste in films.
All right, we have Golubolu, liker of Cars 2, that will be branded on you for forever.
I think enjoyer is more accurate. Liking is like a very strong way of putting it.
Ooh, Bird Turkey, taking out stop, trying to get more, but honestly, one enough is enough at this point. But Twist takes one and goes down, and he gets shot through the floor. You see the tracers. He survives. The C4 isn't enough, and he will be able to survive for now, but there is JetCon getting the finish, backing off. McQueens, they have to find something somewhere else, and it's not going to be with Woos, who goes down. At this point, Fredo and Evil Clouds are desperately getting in the building, trying something. This round might have already ended. That's a desperate play from these two.
Ooh, well, finds one, quickly shut down by Dog, who also shuts down the second, spotting both of those on the cardiac center and grabbing both of those pretty swiftly. I think it was an interesting start for the McQueens, but ultimately the HK Rebels definitely in a position to counter it pretty well. They have the impact that they're being brought. They're able to use the impact to shut down Ace from opening up this pantry wall. Brilliant start. Then you're looking at the contest upstairs. They have the vault angle watched. It's not respected. They vault in. They die. Able to get more picks. You just continue to sort of not show the correct respect to the Rebel setup coming through. They're just jumping into bathroom. Gets injured. Yes, dodges the nitro cell, but then gets shot down pretty quickly because there's no one in a position backing them up. It's players from McQueen's doing something by themselves, getting punished for it, and the rest of the team are now just down man count, down resources, and not in a position to respond. On the flip side, we're always seeing Rebel players feel at least somewhat supported. Even in cases when they're kind of by themselves, like when we saw Dog on red stairs in the round before the last one. Yeah, he's by himself, but the long angle is still being held. There's still some form of indication that's like, okay, this player isn't just a free kill to their opponent.
I don't think anybody is really a free kill overall. That's not something you're going to see at this point. And Fredo, who's having an unfortunate game right now, 0-5. I think McQueens, if they're able to get one more attacking round, it's forgetting. That's the thing, is with support players, if you're doing good, you're not getting kills, that's fine. People aren't really going to knock for that. But when you're not getting kills, you're down 4-1. People look for someone to point fingers at. And it's sometimes not even the support, but usually people are going to gravitate towards, ooh, you have no kills, you're the problem. I love to see Fredo put up some numbers on the board.
Yeah, it's always nice as well when you have that supportive backline that can get the kills. I think for a lot of this, right, they're kind of not in the position of grabbing these kills, and they come out on the bottom of these gunfights anyway. Like, how many times have we seen Fredo? I think it's twice now. Just been like jumped by a random person around a corner that they just like had misthrown, and the misrunning's kind of on Fredo as well. But like, it's not a gunfight. Early pressure at the top of the main stairs though for the McQueens, and with the Aviator Games wall kind of reached away a little bit with a failed impact for it coming through. It does give you an opportunity, but Brent Turkey, that was a little bit nutty, my man, as he's able to find the first pick. Woo's going down, so you lose that ash, you lose explosives. More importantly, a good gun as okay, Burnt Turkey just going ham. Rai gets the board for another kill as well. Poa takes down Stop. Evil Cloud's left all alone here, V. And look at this. Gets one kill. You see the silhouettes just dashing back to sight. We are not watching HK Rebels throw this round. They are going to pull back. They will play the numbers, and they will just wait to very calmly collect this round, leave themselves half 5-1 outside of some miracle performance from Evil Cloud.
HK Rebels, that is smart play by them. The usual players would be like, oh, it's a 1v4. They're like rubbing their hands together maniacally. Perfect time to get a kill. And then you just misplay it. And Evil Cloud suddenly is in a 1v3, no 1v2, and then a 1v1. And things look scary. But at this point, Evil Clouds has to get inside of the site with Rebels players that are dead set in their power positions, and it's going to take a lot for them to actually be moved, and he can't really do that from where Evil Cloud's in. I mean, he can see the shotgun blast, but there's a reinforced wall in between him and his opponent. Yeah, pivot to Stats where there's two more players. It's dead. Like, there's nothing Evil Clouds can do.
Like, hey, do you want to pick dying on a corridor to one angle, or two angles, or pick the angle where you die to three people? Like, can I just like not die? It's like, nope, not. You have to pick one. And he's going to walk in. Admittedly, I was about to say, get the first pick. Look like a line up the head by Poa. Nah, winning that one. And that's what happens when you're on very low health, right? The UMP-45, not a fantastic gun by any means, but it has the 1.5. It has very little recoil. So when you're low HP, you die in a body shot because you're low HP. And if not, pretty good at getting those headshots. You can kind of time the rate of fire correctly. Some people really like it. By the way, HK Rebels, they are 5-1 up, and it's been pretty dominant defensive half, right? Like, we're seeing certain members of McQueens really come alive and have good standing in rounds, and the round that they won was a pretty nice show of what they can do. Since then, a lot of quiet coming out from them. And, like, Evil Clouds has the most kills on 6. 5 of those have come in rounds which are basically lost before they matter anyway, because you're already in a 4 versus 1 or a 4 versus 2, and things kind of fall apart at the seams. it's been difficult from the McQueens to really find these early advantages and then carry them forwards. It's the carrying them on that's the hardest part.
And then well, you have Rebels who are doing very well in the entry game recently with Turkey. Well, I have to criticize something you said in the last round. You said Burnt Turkey was going ham. He's not going ham. He's going turkey. I sorry.
It's true.
It was bugging me the whole time.
It is true. I'll give you that. That is my apologies. Although ham and turkey bangs when it's together. Not gonna lie. Nice little ham and turkey sandwich.
That is true.
That's
and
my
put a nice slice of cheese on there.
Ooh, maybe some cucumber and tomato if you're feeling juicy.
Honey mustard.
You're making me hungry.
Just building a sandwich at this point.
Hey, honestly, that could be great fun. I'm a big sandwich fan. There's something nice about them.
I just thought of this. I feel like there are enough T3 players with weird enough names that you could make a
sandwich squad.
Sandwich squad. Mustard. You get mustard, burnt turkey. There has to be like a bread.
If they're all players who have ridden the bench recently, you call them the Super Subway.
Oh.
Is there enough of that?
I mean maybe, but it also feels a little mean. All right, moving back. Less sandwich talk, as much as the hunger will allow us to. HK Rebels droning on in halfway through the round. McQueens aren't putting too much pressure. Up on the second floor, you mainly have Twist and Woo's C4s, which both are going to get something done. With now Doug going down, this is the bounce back McQueens absolutely needed. A flawless round on the horizon, and at this point you might as well call it that. There's been no opportunity for Rebels to even breathe in this round.
Yeah, they were outside trying to get some work done, start moving in above. Information come through, nitro cells come through, people die. It happens. Woo's trying to maybe take a little bit of gunfire against Burnt Turkey, but he's not going to allow it. So he's going to jump downstairs. Has the breach rounds, which, in an ideal world, to open up the floor above the site, not the lone wall in the basement. But at this point, why go above? Just got to try and find these one-off frags. And looking around the corner, gonna die to the first one. Fredo gets on the board. Not James Bond acting today. Ooh, nice little SI champion skin there as well, just to show it off. But congratulations. Grab the first kill. You're not gonna be the next star of a agent film, but you are gonna win a round. So I think victory is where you can get them.
Pretty definitive round win from McQueen. Like a flawless on their first defense. And Rebels were just being crunched up on that second floor, despite the fact that it was mainly just Woo's C4 and I think was it Twist on the Malusi. They shredded that team. And Rebels now have to go fight this AVG side. Which, that's crazy. Last round was kitchen. Like, who starts on a kitchen bomb site? Clearly, McQueens do. They get the momentum, get some of their confidence back, and now can go to the normal site feeling a lot better.
Yeah, that is true as well, right? You bring off one of these tertiary, quirky sites. I mean, I think kitchen dining at this point, it's definitely still the third in rotation for most teams. But, there's been a couple that have really leaned into it. We saw in the qualifiers. The game escapes me now, but we saw a game where both teams would run to it as their primary option. So there's definitely a little bit of flexibility around it, and I think with the kind of trend of it's nice to defend sites where you can have players play above it and go into fight, it kind of falls under that category, although not to quite the same extent, right? Because you're technically holding inside of statue, and it's master that has a lot of the vertical angles you really want. So it's like a half and half. Early nade, though, no ADS is set up in position to assist the roam, so Evil Cloud's taken a hefty chunk of damage there.
And actually, Evil Clouds is going to back off, mainly leaving Stomp in that statuary area, trying to peek that window side. Actually backs off at the last moment, but Evil Clouds in landing, wondering where Vipoa was, that the angle was actually to kill him. But clearly it was good enough that Vipoa was not ready for it, and Evil Clouds was able to get that kill, meaning again, HK Rebels have to start off their attack underhanded. That hasn't gone well for the previous round. Was, well, a flawless round. Something has to be there for HK Rebels. Les McQueen get a second flawless round, which is still a chance. And when you get there, oof, everything is in play.
I'm intrigued by this constant bringing of Brava, right? We saw it a couple times from the side of McQueens. We're seeing it from Rai now. I'm not sure what they're getting immense value out of it, to be honest. Right? There's no high-profile gadgets that I'm looking at, seeing like, oh, that'd be amazing to grab. Bullet, like, default cameras are always an option, and there's some nice ones to have on this site. I think 90, if you can have that one for yourself as an attacker, always nice to get a little bit of information from. But nothing screams immense. They are trying to pinch the roam down below. That's the next objective for them. They've got a minute left to play in the round. Have to be careful of the presence on main stairs, especially with how the keepers are being used in this position to give a little bit of support to Fredo. The smoke coming through, but not getting enough coverage to deny this door should he choose to get aggressive.
Hell, that's actually a hindrance on HK Rebels themselves because Fredo has the perfect angle. And now there's one less player on HK Rebels to actually peek the main stairs. Vipoa is gone. Doug is going to try to find something, but can't. And, oh, walking up this stairs might be a death sentence, which Fredo just cannot hit the shots. And now walking up main stairs, and Impact is going to miss them as all three players, here and accounted for, try to get something done on the attack. Working down a man, Twist hiding behind the bar, really has Burnt Turkey's number. Ready and firing, and it might be curtains for HK Rebels. The trade does happen, and there it is. McQueens do get the final finish, the second defensive round, and they are starting to get on the comeback train, Ben.
Yep, looking a little bit more comfortable on the defensive end than on the attacking end. The timeout called by the HK Rebels. They want to take a little bit of a breather, just to figure out what's kind of missing. We know the site that's going to be brought. It's going to be trophy, statue, because, well, that's the last three. If they pull out library and living, look, I'll be very excited to see it. I also think that they would then be looking down a match point. So, comes and goes. But looking at how the attack is going to play out for this one, I'd expect the way that HK Rebels have been going about that last round in particular, with the full sort of horizontal clear, they're starting off by Master. I'd expect them to be going for this study. They're up to the top floor and try and fight their way through landing. Is that something the McQueens are going to be pretty well handled to deal with, though? Because they've looked pretty comfortable playing aggressively on these roams and then falling back and being nuisances later on as these rounds go.
And as we end the timeout, we get a nice look at the scoreboard, seeing who's on top in both teams. HK Rebels have a nice kill spread. I think top kills is 7, lowest is 4, and everybody is just in between that. It's a good margin between them. But McQueens, on the other hand, you mainly have at the top Woos. Who the other one we'll see in a minute. Evil Clouds as well, who on the attack was a nightmare sometimes. But still, McQueens, I think they're starting to charge their comeback. And those kill leaders like Woos and Evil Clouds are starting to hurt more and more. And if you leave them alone, HK Rebels just try to work their way around them instead of directly dealing with them. I mean, 2-round difference. That is not that much.
It's one of these things as well, right? Where you're like, oh, it's 5-1. They can for sure win 2 attack rounds. Just wait till they go to the tertiary site. Been there, done that. They went there first. And that has given them a sort of springboard to jump off of, right? Where they now get to come back to these 2 more comfortable sites. Get to play it out, you push it back to that 5-4. In the minds of the Rebels, you're thinking like, hey guys, like we're really struggling to break an attacking round here. And with Woos playing things like the cat cans as well, this is really juicy. I really like to see it. I think it's 3 a bit excessive.
It's to confirm a lot of, because like 2 will kill a 1 speed, but I think anything beyond that, like you will need 3 to kill Jetcom. So
yeah, that is a good point. Otherwise, you get injured, right? So I guess you just secure that one. You chuck 2 on elsewhere. You don't really see the ones anymore, do you? You don't really see the single ones. I guess it's just
sometimes
you sometimes do, but like not as common. Like I mean, I was gonna say not as common as you used to. You used to have to do the ones. Yeah. I mean, Twiz playing aggressive though on this Azami. I mean, this is what you kind of expect from them, right? trying to look for these early picks, maybe get some damage onto it. Throwing another Kiva on the window, so just trying to be really annoying early on. But the take from McQueens solely focused around this side of the building for the time being. They're on Master Power. They're going to try and fight their way in and get access to this main bridge.
Was utilizing that Kiva barrier does hit the little hole that he needed to. It does get destroyed, so it's a very brief moment of peace, but it was enough nonetheless, maybe to give himself a breath of fresh air, and I think another one was deployed. That is why Azami is so strong. Oh, did you destroy a Kiva barrier? Huh, I've got another one. You have to use another piece of utility. So Rai has to use the pellets because JetCon is out of Zofia Impacts. Vipoa has to utilize the frag grenades on the Kiva barriers or try to get the mute jammers. He cannot get everything, as McQueens start another round with an opening kill. It doesn't last very long as Doug does take down Fredo, and Woos is shielded from the Candela, but not for long. Smoke canister goes out, and now Doug does get the hop in, tries to walk on in, and Woos doesn't hit a single shot. He's inside of the site, ready to go around, does spot Woos, and fires the LMG, but doesn't have the angle. Burnt Turkey hop in the window. He was dead from the moment he hit spacebar, and now McQueens, you can see they're kind of cocky here, man. They are confident. Ooh, just a little bit of tactical crouching.
Yeah, making sure the control button works. As what I'd put it, right? I mean, look, the thing for me there with HK Rebels is the lineup they're bringing out is an execute-based composition, right? You've got the Capitao, you've got the Yings, you're looking to get these Candelas, these Expiations, and the Smokes in positions that give you those entries in. And we never really saw that come to bear anything, right? Because you have the Capitao in the position of economy window, you have the Ying on Wolf window, but the whole Master side take is just gaining nothing. They can't get in. They're being met with a Zami barrier after a Zami barrier. That's just stopping you from getting that line of sight, stopping you from getting that control. There's the congestion coming on onto the jump in. They can't walk in bathroom because there's nitro cells ready to blow you up if you do. Everything was just kind of a little bit awkward. And that's why I would have liked to see them maybe try and play for the rest of the map. Personally, I always seemed... I believe it's just a little bit more successful for Tank. Getting that foothold is really helpful to have. But I can understand why they wanted to go for it, especially with the lineup they were bringing. If they had gotten that space inside a master bedroom, if you can get to that site and start trying to funnel for astronomy, then yes, that lineup can work brilliantly at isolating members while you push on in. Didn't work. Didn't work. They didn't start on the right foot. They just didn't get the advantage they need to make it work.
So making some decisions on the attack, bringing out the Jackal. That's really the only big decision that they're making. McQueen's not really a surprise with Pulse on Kitchen, but still pushing the hindrance, pushing their position as a defense a lot more towards Rome. But right now, Rebels are ignoring the upstairs and mainly just attacking this red hallway side, the library area. And I mean, could be for the best. They've struggled to deal with the Rome the entire attack, but if they do choose to ignore it, I mean, that is a big part of this site. So,
I honestly quite like this adaptation, right? It's a doable strategy. It works for a reason, and it's because you deny the on-site players any real space. You get into a company corner where you can hold longer angles from across the corridor, and you get that plant down. Now, for me, the thing that went wrong last time was they just tried to walk in, and the information, the nitro cells, the pulse, cat cans, everything. Instead, they're looking for this main bridge. Get a lot of damage onto Fredo very early on, and now with a bit of presence on the wall, Fredo is still in here. The nitro cell actually used by Evil Clouds to sort of blow up the hard breach gadget on the wall. A little bit of a gap, but not much. We are starting to see them start to try and look around now for an opening pick through this breach, but they are running shy on time here, V.
and time is the real killer on the attack. You don't manage it wisely, it will not be a friend to you. But I think there's enough that the Rebels can deal with. 60 seconds is enough to drone out, maybe get a pick or two, but if you don't use that time wisely, like I said, well, then that is 60 seconds of wasted potential. Laundry isn't ignored, but Burnt Turkey does focus on the pantry, getting that wall open. I don't think he has much intel that the player is hiding inside of it. Evil Cloud's just waiting, ready to strike. And does he do it? Yes, he does. Diffuser is pinged. And now Rebels, they have to shift their efforts if they want to get something else done. One shotgun pump, not enough time to rack the other as JetCon fires between those rotates. And now gets a great kill onto Twist, reloading with 3v2. This is the best chance that Rebels have had so far with Evil Clouds. He got the kill onto Burnt Turkey to open this round, but HK Rebels know exactly where he is, and Rai gets the finish. So Rebels are not down without a fight. They do go on to map points. Is it too late? But it is enough to put a little bit of an arm's distance between them and McQueens.
I think it's been a fair result so far, right? I think you'd say Rebels, they've been the team that looked better for longer, but the side swap, again, kind of through that, where McQueens have looked like a different team on the defense, right? They look a lot more comfortable. They're willing to play these positions. They're buying themselves a lot more time with utility. They're throwing it forwards and standing in these aggressive positions and having backup for each other. And that was something we didn't really see on the attack, right? They were very good at just sort of spreading out a bit too thin and dying away. And now they are on match point, but they have the two sort of most practical sites, both of the top floor sites available to them. They're going to start off on Aviator game. In fact, they won before in a pretty dominant fashion. And they have these mirror windows available to themselves once again, which they're using to command a lot of presence towards Zombie Door, the most common area in. This could be pretty strong for them. And I think it's not out of the question for an overtime. The big question for me is how is the adaptation from Rebels going to come through? Because they adapted last round, right? We saw them try and go above. It did not work. They go horizontal. They find a way to break that pattern. And now they're bringing this Twitch, who does have opportunities against this mirror if nothing goes wrong too early on into the round. A bit of a run out from Evil Clouds, getting a lot of damage onto JetCon, but pays for it with his life. The long out from Doug through a different window is what ends up getting him killed.
He had to sprint for that. That was not a throw a C4 out the window and hope you get something of it. That was 100% commitment. The fact that Evil Clouds didn't get anything after that is a little surprising considering what they've been able to do, but now you lose one of your top gunners of Evil Clouds within the first 30 seconds. If HK Rebels can work off of this, which we've seen them be able to do in the past, this should be a round win for them. They just have to play their cards right. Forcing McQueens away from this trophy statuary site with a good amount of time left. Rai even getting the default camera, making things pretty easy for the run-up. This is about as good of a start for HK Rebels in a round that you would like.
Yeah, and the drone's coming through to give them this information. Twist is going to be the next issue. He's on 19. He's playing it very hard, right? He's got a Kiba in the pocket, which he can throw down to destroy this one. A little bit different. You have to see how they use what remaining explosives they have left, as Doug has already invested one of those grenades to try and clear out some bricks when they tried to push forwards. Right on this rappel, doing a good job of forcing his back a little bit, though. The shoulder becoming available on the peak, but unable to find it. A wonderful shot from Twist there, though. I mean, Vipoa goes down, but more importantly, still hold on to some of that threat.
And Doug, just hiding inside of landing, waiting for potentially a flank or something of the other. He's the red and just waiting for everybody else on their HK Rebels to join him. Now the attack with 60 seconds left. That is more than enough time for Rebels to really get something done. Doug can walk over to Vault, frag it from underneath, and get the Vault on open. You can see he's going to go on through, but Doug does get shot out through the drone hole. Stop was ready for that as the Twitch drone inside of the site is still just kind of walking around, taking out Black Mirror. So it's a trade. You lose a Black Mirror, but you do take out the Semmel for the small time being. Burnt Turkey looks the wrong way, and suddenly McQueens are feasting on this attacking team. Rai does get a kill, hops in the window, and immediately walks inside a study, but the DMR isn't a great gun against this Vector close range and can't win the shots because, I mean, one shot was really all he had in this moment, and he did not want it to blow, but unfortunately it did.
With the high fire rate Vector, you missed that first shot with the DMR, you're probably dead. And I mean, look, timing, classic Siege thing, right? Admittedly, things went For them there. But I mean, Twiz, great job on that first pick, and then swing at the time. See both of them walking out the corridor. That's a coordinated peek. One from main stairs, one from the bar door. They're making sure that they get at least a trade from that. And again, it's all about slowing down this attack, draining resources from them, absorbing time. And Rebels, look, they had a good setup, right? They get that breach opened up. The ace was clearly aware that someone was going to swing out. But if you think they're going to swing out, hold a less aggressive angle. You don't need to gun for them, right? Keep stuff alive, keep that 90 position, denies it to the defense, which is more important than getting traded out.
All right, Kitchen. This is where we started. It seems like it's fitting that that's where we end regulation, because this was the first point where we saw maybe Rebels' palace, of which they sit upon the 5-1, wasn't as stable as we thought it was. And now we're here. 6-5. McQueens 1 round away from sending us into overtime. I wanted a good match. You wanted a good match. I think a good match is what we got. But does it have that star-studded finish? Is overtime where we are headed, or is Rebels going to close the door right before opportunity strikes from McQueens?
I do not. It's the honest answer. But I think if there was any site that Rebels had another chance attacking, it would be this one, which to me is a little bit of a question as to why McQueens go to it. Twist, getting a very early pick is one good reason why they chose to go to here, right? You get that early aggression, you have a bit of presence on the roam, that will slow things down quite a bit. Bipolar not had the same sort of bite this round that we've seen them have previously. Maybe you want a little bit more from these entries, but they've got players making that up, and the rest of the team is doing a good job to come into the support of it. They're now trying to find a way to hunt down this Oryx, because they've got the E1Ds. The question is getting drone information, and then players. Well, there's the drone information. Where are the players?
Well, we do see somebody through a wall. Right now, they're just kind of outside that master area, now encroaching onto the AVG. Mozzie is located all the way in the other side.
Oh, no.
And if Rai isn't careful, they could walk straight into the Oryx. They stop right at the door. Don't even look at the footsteps, heartbeats, and Twist fires first. And Rebels now have 2 players down. Not a really good way to even up the man count, further indicating that overtime just seems like an inevitability at this rate. And Cradle holding inside of Memo, waiting for Burnt Turkey to walk into the prime position. Oh, it's so close to fully getting to that ending that we're all waiting for.
They know the Mute is in this room, the wall behind trying to be opened up. Jammer holding onto it for now. EMP going to be used to force him out of position with the E1D scan, but you trying to make sure you don't move now. You should be exposed, and they is. Collects the kill. Evil Cloud's taking a little bit of damage as well, as they now have this entry point that they were looking for B, but they got to be careful of Stop in the corridor behind. Doug gets taken down by Twist. Evil Cloud gets the board as well, V, and it looks like it's going to be an overtime on the cards. The first of the season in our second game. And honestly, whoever gets the fence first is at a massive advantage, and it's going to be the McQueens.
Oh, and they can start wherever they like, and starting on Kitchen, that is what is, indicated. That's what they're gonna do. Perfect opportunity, great opportunity. HK Rebels has struggled on this site time and time again. Like I said, it's where we started, it's where we ended, and both went about the same. I think with the early one being a little bit worse, but, it's the same result. That's what matters at the end of the day. With McQueens, like you said, starting on the defense, they get this massive advantage, and HK Rebels, who are up 5-1, are now the ones with their backs up against the wall.
Here's the thing. Yes, they've won it twice. It's also the only site they've lost. And I think that last round for Rebels had some really glaring holes in what they were doing, right? They are so spread out. There is not a combined effort to work on a single task. They have Lion clearing library. They have Zero working towards Bicycle and Memo. They have Ace in waiting for library to be cleared out to then go in. And then they have a 4th player on drone trying to hunt down the Oryx with no player helping that task. And the 5th one died to an early spawn. So, that's good. But all four of these players are doing their own thing. The round that they were successful in was a combined horizontal roam clear. They focused on one thing: clear piano, clear library, clear living. Then we can start working on site. This time, a much more direct approach, just immediately getting a bit of a hole into this pantry wall. Wu's able to take down the second one, so it's not going to be vaultable unless they choose to use a second or third Selma into it. But for the time being, that's just kind of enough, right? You have this ability to now play on the window and draw a long line of sight through the kitchen.
And I think McQueens are going to play the same, but right now Rebels are indicating that they are attacking the same. You've got a couple up on the second floor, but mostly near that southern side. Maybe wanting to push a couple of these players out of landing, and a couple players down in that piano area, but they've shifted from the first floor up onto the second floor, and that's not where we saw a lot of the success. And we didn't see a lot of the success up on the second floor for Rebels. We saw it when it kind of was a direct attack for them. And as the timer ticks on and more McQueen's players stay up, the more doubt starts to sow in my mind of how Rebels can win this round.
Well, clearing out this middle floor is very much the focus. Most of the sweep has been done. This gives Vipo the opportunity to pull out that scanner, start trying to grab a bit of information, but they forgot about the player in path. Doug able to quickly recover before that costs them any further. Charges come through to give a little bit of verticality into the site. Still plenty of time, though. Just over a minute on the clock. About watching out for these nitro cells, but there's no pulse to guide them this time. It's been a big difference to other McQueen defenses. The line of sight being drawn onto Fredo, nearly costing him. It does cost him. By Poa, he moves straight into another line of sight and will get shut down. 2 members dead now, V. 50 seconds still on the clock. They're starting to get an entry into the site now with the breach being worked on. And the Yosa shields being placed.
Rai gets these talent shields down. The chance of McQueen just sinks lower and lower. There is really no chance of getting past Rai.
Oh.
Got Evil Cloud's impacts. It doesn't hit. I think Rai picked it up.
By accident.
Yeah, no, even if it was by accident, you find that kill on the player, it wouldn't have mattered because HK Rebels just won it on kills from upstairs in the end anyway.
I think that was by accident. Because it looked like they were trying to give themselves the space to plant the diffuser behind it. And then it worked out perfectly because
that'd be the coolest thing in the world.
They dodged the impact with it by picking it up, keeping it alive. You don't die to the swing. And if you're in that pickup animation, not only does it not get destroyed, you don't get moved out the way by like the impact of it either. So that would have also then prevented from the immediate swing afterwards. So like, works out perfectly. But like you mentioned, the round was fine either way. If they lose the Yosa, they still have coverage in other places. The vertical angles come through. But that's a massive breakdown in this momentum because HK Rebels get to play a defensive round. And look, I know I said earlier, V, that we've seen a couple of teams leaning more and more towards kitchen dining as of recent. See both of these teams really liking it. It is interesting. It's the side that HK Rebels are going to choose to play for the only defense that they will get to in overtime.
And I mean, looking at where they went is one round. They went round 5 to this site, of which, I mean, AVG was very good for them. And I think Kitchen, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think that going somewhere like... Yeah, no, it is quizzical. It's one you ponder on, and we'll have to see if hindsight is 2020. Because I mean, AVG is as good of a site, but Kitchen is a good site as well. With Doug being on the pulse, a lot of C4s in the pocket of HK Rebels, or at least one in the pocket of Ipol, one in the pocket of Doug, ready to explode some sneakers. A lot rests in the hands of somebody like Burnt Turk, who up on the second floor. As the defense kind of died down for HK Rebels, that is when Burnt Turkey really started to gain some steam. Can he get that? What he had in the last, like, round 5, round 6? We'll have to see.
Oh, he's up outside, mate. Not inside, but nice try. It was nice, right? If you'd gotten that pick, would have been very juicy, right? You get in, they jump into bathroom, they're holding an angle, they go boom, you lose twist early on into the overtime round. pretty juicy. But as things stand, Wu's on the complete other side of the map, looking for any sort of roamers or lurkers, maybe trying to get some sort of presence on landing to try and limit the rotations of the roamers on the top floor. The Global Shield looking that way, the Gemini going to run in and be shot down pretty quickly. So again, HK Rebels really trying to deny this information onto their top floor positions and doing a good job of holding tight for the time being. Want to be careful of some of these longer angles that can be drawn, because now you're going to see McQueen start to try and pounce on in, but immediately fall away.
At 1 for JetCon, but Woos just hops in, gets 2. It is immediately traded out by Rai, but enough to clear the top floor free of any HK Rebels members. Rai does push forward, does spot the player, but right now it's just 2 players. Maybe they get a kill, maybe they don't. In the end, they don't. And it leaves us with a 3v3. HK Rebels on map point. Map and match point. I want to indicate this is a best of 1. It's round 1. Whoever moves on will go to the second higher tier of the Swiss bracket. At this point, it could be any of these teams, with McQueens having a wonderful second half. Woos, Evil Clouds coming alive. They are 2 players who are still alive out of the 3. But on the side of HK Rebels, you've got Doug, who can pass actively, give that information on over to his team, and Vipoa, who still has that C4. Queens indicating. Yeah, that's the thing. Ben, 20 seconds. And Fredo has to hop in from somewhere. And Doug just has his number. A player drops. Woos goes down. Diffuser cannot be picked up. And Doug has to survive. Can he do that? Triple zeros come. Yes, it does. And HK Rebels barely screech by on Villa. And they get it done in the end.
Whew. That was a little bit tighter than I think either team would have wanted. The start that McQueen's had, I'm sure it's tighter than they're glad it went that long, because at least it sort of gives them sort of indication, but it's also just me what had happened if those attacks had gone well for both teams, right? If both of them had been able to break that 5-1, shit to a 4-2, you have a great half and make it 3-3. I think both of these teams, I'm glad we saw a Villa game, bit of differentiation in the pool. I think both of them will want to be working on their attack for the next play day, if that's something that they think they want to be bringing in for their main rotation. Because there was some great starts for both teams, but ultimately neither looked massively comfortable. To a point where, like, thinking like, oh, they really have a solid hold on how they want to play out these attacks. There's good indications, good starting ideas. They didn't flow through to the end very well, and both defenses very good at adapting what's happening around them and just being in position to meet it. That last round, Who's on for the ace to push it to round 15 would have been massive, but ultimately Doug getting that diffuser, right? It's the diffuser player that dies. I get wanting to go for an off angle, but when you're in a 3v3 this late with 15 seconds left in a round, you do not want your diffuser to be in a position by themselves, because if they die, so go your hopes of fighting that diffuser, and it comes down to that gunfight frenzy. Despite being on the 2 versus 1, you can't get it down because Doug hides behind a table.
I mean, when you're in a match this close, and something like that comes down to the 1v1, that's how you know it was a great game. Doug, on 5 HP, could throw like a flashbang at him or something. Maybe he'll die. Thrilling. I think that's the best thing that you can call this game. And to see our second map go overtime, not full overtime, but we were expecting the full 15-round banger, and instead we get HK Rebels winning their attacking round. I mean, they only won one attacking round in regulation, so the fact that they did that in overtime is massively impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty good to see, and it's nice to know that they have that composure. I think that's going to be more important as we go in, right? If you can pull things back from the brink, you hit your overtime rounds, and that's where you start to kick into gear. That's where you make these attacks work. Because that last attack in overtime looked better than any of the other attacks they had all game long. So I don't know what it is coming into overtime. They figured it out, and it seems to be a running trend. Why can't teams just like do the right thing from the start? Why do they always have to like leave it so long? They leave it till overtime to figure out what's going on. I'm just thinking like, guys, on, like,
I don't
pull
understand
it together. Just be good at the start. It's like we're not watching like some film where it's like the team has to like fall down and have a triumph, be like, no guys, like we can do this, like we're better, come together as a team and bond, and then they come back and they do it. Like, just do it from the start, mate.
It sounds like that one ninja copy pasta where it's like, I don't understand how teams just lose rounds. Like, it's so easy just to not lose them. What are you doing? But
Not wrong. Just
I
get
mean,
kills, forehead.
yeah, all right, yeah. Let's throw you in there with your.
No, please don't. Please don't.
All right. Well, we're still prepping an interview as right now we kind of can move on to what we've got with SFCL. We are thinking about what we can do for the next couple maps. We're thinking about what we can do as I'm still going to be here. Golu, I'm still going to be here for the next game. We'll see if I am on for the later game. And I think we are going to head to a break. So we'll be right back. All right, looking at some stats that we see of this game, I think that would be lovely to see who kind of top fragged, who got the greatest injury, because we saw a lot of people do wonderful things at the top. For HK Rebels is Doug with a 1.29, and Woos with no surprises at top for McQueens. Nobody really jumping out in entry, but a couple people jumping out in KD, and it's the previous two that I mentioned.
Yeah, a nice spread, right? Like, you're looking at quite a few players, 5 in the lobby, hit that double digits. Rhino not having as strong a performance. We saw some impactful kills come through when they mattered, but, you know, it's a little bit difficult in some of these longer games if you're only picking up those 3 for the rest of the team to sort of build up into that. And I think something for the next game is just to try and balance out a little bit more, right? You have a very strong entry duo with Woos, Evil Clouds as well, and then Twist backing that up. We just need to see that support line sort of assisting in some of the insight play. On the side of the Rebels, though, again, that's the sort of standard spread you're expecting to see. A 79% cost for Doug across 14 rounds when you're winning half of those, it's really impressive. Having high cost is probably the most important thing you can have to like reflect your impact throughout a game as a whole. I mean, that is just amazing.
It is, I guess, the best way of having a statistical way of dealing with like support. Like if you are surviving, if you are contributing, that is how you can kind of see it on the stat line. And sometimes it might not happen. Like your death might still be valuable in some way, even though that's a weird thing to say. But we unfortunately do not have an interview like we did in the previous match. So we are going to end off this second map, but we have 2 more games for you tonight. So do not go anywhere. We have more SFCL action right after the break.